If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. It's one of the only ways now that the politicians and the media is mostly gone that we can shine a light on our little town of East Palestine, Ohio. And consider joining our Facebook group, East Palestine Off the Rails. Get the truth from the people that live here. Thank you so much. Here's a funny thing about this particular interview. The reason she says we have a East Palestine resident coming up is because the link they gave me prior to the show the day before worked fine, but it did not work in the morning. I almost missed this interview. They got me up and running 30 seconds before we went on air.
Still ahead. It's been 2 months since the train derailment in East Palestine, and guess what? Still no visit from the commander-in-chief, despite his promise. Watch.
And we will be implementing an awful lot into the legislation here, and I will be implementing some.
Yeah, he's moved on. We check in with one resident amid new reports that a CDC team studying health impacts in that area fell ill during their investigation.
I've spoken with every official in Ohio, Democrat and Republican, on a continuous basis, as in Pennsylvania. I laid out a little bit in there what I think the answers are. We put it together, and we will be implementing an awful lot into the legislation here, and I will be implementing some.
That was President Joe Biden vowing to visit East Palestine, Ohio, after that massive train derailment. But people living there still waiting. 2 months after their lives turned upside down, and a new report reveals the CDC team studying health impacts fell ill during the investigation. East Palestine residents Rick Sy and DJ Yokley join us now. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us. Before we talk about President Biden, DJ, why don't we start with you? How's it going? What's the update from your community? What, if anything, has changed for the better?
Yeah, so for us, it's good because we're working hand in hand with residents, people from all across America, from sea to shining sea. They want to support us. And, you know, for us, leadership is an action word and not necessarily a title. So what's unfortunate is the leader of the free world doesn't feel like the need to be with us in this journey back to building back our community brick by brick. And that's okay, because we have each other. We have great business people. We have great residents that have continued to roll up their sleeves, grab their shovels, and get to work. And we're building back day by day and trying to get back to where we were on February 2nd.
We'll just stick with that then, Rick. You know, it's not as though the President of the United States is stuck in Washington, D.C. He did just visit Mississippi, where there were those tragic tornadoes. So it's notable that he hasn't, in 2 months' time, chosen to visit your community.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say, if you want to know what's going on here, East Palestine Off the Rails Facebook group. I honestly feel he's the one that should be handcuffed. He's done nothing here. What would it take for him to visit Ohio?
And how do you reconcile that, Rick? I mean, I can hear I can hear your emotion in that statement. How do you make sense of the fact that the president hasn't visited East Palestine?
You really can't make sense of it. We still have chemicals in the creek as they are digging up the crash site, which they drove their trains over for 2 months. They're putting more chemicals in the air and more chemicals in the creek, and he hasn't been here.
DJ, the report that the CDC investigators themselves got sick during their investigation and cleanup, I mean, that is incredibly concerning. Do you still see the health effects in your community?
So I guess it's a case-by-case basis. It's unfortunate that people are getting sick. You know, for me, my family and I are safe, which is, you know, thank God. But it's unfortunate. So, you know, we talk about championships all the time, right? We need a champion for this. I don't care where it comes from. I don't think the residents of East Palestine do either. But when you're a champion, you don't get to pick your battles. You know, this is a champion. You're fighting every single one of them, and you got to put the championship on the line. So we're just looking for someone, whether it's the EPA, it's Norfolk Southern, it's our government, or even our residents, to step up and be that champion for East Palestine.
And Rick, I know you live 2 miles from the crash site. So if the president were to visit, what would he see in East Palestine?
Well, first of all, when he mentions the EPA, don't forget, the EPA doesn't let us forget how proud they are that they were here 2 hours after the derailment. In their initial report, they stated that they observed Norfolk Southern putting tracks over contaminated liquid and soil and driving the trains right through. I think the EPA is just as guilty in this case for what happened. Why didn't they stop them? They're the ones that are supposed to protect us.
Yeah, Rick, Cy, and DJ Yoakley, that's still concerning updates from East Palestine. But as you point out, DJ, also inspirational in what you see a community coming together. And hopefully at some point, we can only hope that it would be seen by the President of the United States. Thank you both.
Thanks, Will.
Thank you.
Finally, I almost ran and grabbed my Superman ball cap instead of the one I had on when they told me you're live in 30 seconds with Will Kane. I thought they meant the Superman guy.